Welcome back, everyone, to 1 Million Mind. We have a killer show for you today. Balaji has come up with some amazing workflow, and we want to discuss a Microsoft Work Trend Report for 2025.
So to start off, again, we have been dabbling creating bots for a while. So I thought, again, we create a Elon Slack agent as opposed to a bot. It's a little bit more sophisticated than how we initially started playing with bots, where you will take a corpus, feed some information, get a response, and try to make it talk like a person that you want it to. That's one way to do it. That's very early on. Now, fast
Yes.
forward, I think we are in this agentic world where it used to be called functions. Now it's tooling. But long story short, now these agents or the building blocks shown here are able to use multiple tools to come up with a more appropriate response. So in this case, what I have, Rajni, is as you can see, there's an AI agent which is using Olama model from my desktop, and it has some memory, so it has context saved there. But it also is using a couple of tools that is appropriate. In this case, there's a SERP API, which is able to search the internet for information, and then there is the Wikipedia. So I thought this is much more appropriate for a bot who has Elon, who has a web footprint. So if the language model does not have enough information, it can always dip into the search or the Wikipedia to find the relevant information to come up with a response.
Oh, interesting. So it's like real time getting data or getting data to answer the questions or the conversation you're having. Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
Correct. So for the purpose of understanding what is how do you even get to this tooling part, right? A model that is a regular generative model, which gives you responses, have to be fine-tuned for tooling support. There are models like Llama 3.1, which are fine-tuned for tooling. Mixtral is another one. So there are specific models that you can go find with tooling support. In other words, when you feed a prompt and a question, it has to come back with response that is parsable by a tool, right? So you're going to give it some instructions. Say, hey, here's a search tool, and it looks up these parameters or whatever. And then the LLM has to come up with a response that you can feed to the tool and then get the response back. So it kind of goes back and forth to complete the response. So first it will go to the language model, get the appropriate tool functions, and go to the tool, get the response, and then go back to the LLM to compose the final response.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And to make this appealing for others, I just added the Slack trigger, because most companies and other people who use Slack, they have internal workflows. Again, I just want to make it look cool, but at the same time be useful for enterprise or companies that use Slack, right? So now you can bring the AI to where you are, right? As opposed to you going to the app that does something for you, you can bring the AI to where you are.
Got it. So for somebody like me who's looking at it for the first time, just to replay what I just heard, you have the setup. Let's just say I use Slack in my work or Teams or whatever I use. We'll have our own model. It could be using Olama. It could be any model. And then instead of SERP AI, which is the web search, which is the Wikipedia, we can point that to our own SharePoint, whatever our information is stored.
Fantastic. You connected the dots right there. That's the gold mine, right? So what you want to do is, if you want to use these type of tools, take your internal SharePoint, internal notes or internal content data lake or whatever, with some level of tooling there, so you can get your data in and respond back to your employee questions. That's one way to visualize it. And the links that come back are intranet links, so you can click it, you can get the job done. Or as somebody posted, the most common thing with the IT department is, I forgot my password, can you help me reset my password, right? And you can have a bot that's a reset password bot. You can say, hey, here's my email address, and it's going to come back and say, here are the steps you follow. You don't need an IT person to help you reset your password. And that's very specific to that company, right? It's not like general reset password. It's very specific in your SharePoint or whatever content management you have. It'll bring that link up.
That's very cool.
So that's essentially it. The reason why I like a platform like N8N is because it has origins from the operations IT side of things, observability. Now they give you each component here as the data travels. You can take a look at it and you can dump it to log and analyze and do other things. So there it comes
Oh,
with
wow.
observability at its core. Which is another nice thing to have if you're in the IT side of things, right? So now you can send it to a central place to log, collect, and analyze, and do other things if you need to fine tune this whole
Okay, that's perfect. Yes, I agree. That's one of the. How do you make? We all have ideas, right? We have all these tools we can use, and how do we get an idea to MVP is very easy with all the tools available. But making an MVP actually work in a business setting is where a lot of these projects just fail because of how do I make these connections happen. Some of them locally will work great, but a tool like this I think has like hooks or connectors or Zapier used to be to all these different standard data repositories or information where you can add, right? But if you don't if you don't pick a tool like this, it will be great for MVP. You had your local PDF, so it was able to read it. But when you connect it to a SharePoint or a data lake, it will completely fail because it doesn't have the connection. And then, how do you, to your point, the biggest hurdle at this point is whether it's HR or the InfoSec will come in and say, how's the data being used? What it is being used? How's it? Where is it staying? Where is it going out? All those questions can kill almost any project if you don't think about it ahead of time. So it feels like this could be a solution that could be ready to make your idea not only an MVP but actually make it work in an enterprise setting.
That's absolutely right, Rajni. And you touched upon something. It's almost like you're bringing Zapier to your desktop or within your enterprise, right? Because this has so many API interfaces from YouTube to Box to Google to all these things, right? So name it. You can just
Right.
connect this particular integration where earlier we used to go to Zapier to connect all these pieces together. Now with a tool like this, you can build your own flow and connect. The other thing I want to bring up for attention is the human in the loop. We talk about it and how is it actually practically
Oh,
being
nice.
done,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
imagine you want to insert a human in the loop in this whole workflow. Um,
Okay.
you have these modules here where a human can be reached, and this is a send and wait for a response module. So you can insert one
Okay.
of these blocks at a point where you want a human need to interfere, post it to a Discord and let the human respond, and based on the response you can proceed or abort. You can do these kind of operations in the workflow itself. There could be multiple points where someone need to approve this workflow, and then you continue to the next step. Things like this can happen. They've thought of this as well, where you can send an email, you can send a chat, you can send Telegram, Slack, whatever, right? So it basically engages a human to approve or disapprove or review before it proceeds. That's again is a very good thing in an enterprise setting where compliance need to happen.
Yes. So I'm so glad you brought that up because it plays right into our next topic. I'll have some questions around it, but human in the loop and making sure humans can manage agents and the transformation of the whole organization is what the next topic is for us. So it's great that you shown this. So they are not only are they building tools, now they're understanding that most tools are just now set it and forget it. There's always somebody in the human loop, at least to start out with, and most probably for a while, just to handle exceptions. Giving that feature, just like they're connecting to different tools, giving that feature to be able to add that to any of these workflows is amazing. That way, it could be just be because we need exceptions or until people get comfortable, just like the Waymo cars that are driving here, right? They had drivers even though they didn't do anything, just for an exception. And now I see Waymo's driving all over Austin with no driver. So I think that's the natural transition for all of us too, before we let go of these processes.
Absolutely, Rajni. I think even in the workflows that we use to automate, there is a place where humans are interfering with the workflow, and until they get comfortable, then they can flip a switch, say auto approve, because now I know it works. and you can auto approve, right? There's always auto approve for some level of tickets, and some level of tickets human has to interfere. We can have tiered responses. Again, like that's why I like the origins of this tool, where it comes from deep within the enterprise IT security and other things. The pro is that the con is that user interface. Now you got to go build. It's all API, webhooks, and other things, right? Even to get this up,
Got it.
I need to configure Slack. I need to know how to get the API key, plug it in. So that's the con, right? You need to have somebody who knows how to connect these pieces, right? But the majority of the bulk of the work is no code. But to integrate to Slack, you have to do a little bit of work.
Agree. So for you to draw a blueprint, this tool is great, but you need to have the next level of expertise to be able to actually implement this tool. And I think that's where people like you and me will come into play here. To be, if people have ideas that they want to implement, we can more than happy to create an MVP and then actually help them form the hooks into their existing process to make sure they can add intelligence and workflows and automation to any of their work process. So if anybody is interested in talking to us about it, we would love to talk to you. But go ahead.
Absolutely, Rajni. And I just wanted to present the actual Slack interface where this app is.
Okay.
You can talk to the app, like anybody who's using Slack in your company. Now, again, in this example, we are talking to Elon bot. As you can see, I said, "Tell me about your family." It goes, looks up, search, and the Wikipedia, and it's able to come up with even.
All the awesome names. Got it.
I'm curious.
Funny, that's a story for another time. Got it.
Well, I want to know the story. Let's see what it does. So again, we can add Twitter integration, so it can go pull Twitter feed, all kind of other things. So there you go. See, now it's able to explain whatever explanation he has given, right?
Oh my God.
I didn't know any of these X's are not in the unknown variable. Okay.
It's crazy.
So as you can see, yeah, it's able to become more powerful now, as opposed to a model with a fixed knowledge base. Now it's dynamic. It's able to go figure from the internet.
So at the end of the day, this is, I think, where I think we talked about in one of our episodes is, hey, it's great to just scrape the internet or just even do a search, right? Like we can do a search and goes and comes back. But what if you had like a specific account to Twitter API, like you, or to Wall Street Journal, something that lived behind a paywall that you were already paying to access? Could you use this tool to be able to, or your agent to be able to get access to everything that you already have access to, maybe even your bank account at some point, right? Correct. If you can do that, then every one of these tools becomes a lot more personal and a lot more useful for what you do on a daily basis.
100%. I mean, imagine this agent can produce daily reports for you based on all the data sources. Again, it's going to do all the tedious tasks that can be automated and brought to surface for you, right? We already know report writing, all these are getting automated away. You don't need to now reach out to the IT department to make a report. The tools are able to make reports. So.
And I think we talked about this analogy, right? Like what we were excited about a year ago was almost like a caveman just finding maybe fire or something. We were all thrilled about, hey, now we have fire. We got these, now we can cook our food. But what we're giving our caveman now is tools. Now here's a tool to go hunt. Here's a tool. Here's a wheel. You can go faster if you build something. So that's really what we are doing, is it's going to accelerate the adoption of the intelligence, and being able to build useful tools is where I see it. Because yes, we got fired. Yes, it was exciting, but maybe not even fired. Maybe we started talking, but now we have tools to, multiply what they can do. And I think that's where what you just showed and what Claude is doing with MCP, and I know OpenAI is doing it. Now, all these tools make it, I think you mentioned, I'll let you talk about it, is you can do some searching and do some knowledge, but nothing is what I'm saying is there's not a workflow that is you can predefine and it works exactly the same way every time. So these tools helps you actually deal with real life issues or real life workflows.